Today, we will hear foundational Black Americans and Hispanics having very passionate discussions on decades of racism and anti-Blackness in the Hispanic community towards Black Americans. Check it out.
Latinos do not need to apologize to the Black community for what Ashley did, because we did not do it. It's crazy to me to see so many videos of Black people using that as an excuse to say they support ICE, to say so many horrible things. We don't need to be kissing butt or anything because we didn't do it. It's crazy because they always use an excuse to like discriminate on us. And if we say something, then we're racist. Like, for example, when Jada over there in New York was assaulted, it wasn't even Latinos or Mexicans, and they were blaming us already. They were doing protesting, and they went crazy saying they hated Mexicans, and it wasn't even Mexicans. And then they will do trends making fun of Mexican women that we look like freaks. When we defend ourselves, they will say that we're racist. So every time they do something to us, they want us to apologize for what? We didn't do anything. So if you are posting those videos saying that we are racist and we don't like you, maybe we don't like you not because of the color of your skin, but because of how you guys only use the one person as an excuse to treat all of us bad. And when one Black person treats us bad, we don't go and do protesting and do all this crazy stuff. So yeah, like the people that are there, I'm sorry. Why are you sorry for? Are you racist? Or why are you saying sorry for? You know, for me, it's ridiculous, honestly. They're just looking for one excuse, just one excuse. If you live around them, they treat us horribly. But then when we say something, they are like the victim and like, Latinos are jealous of us because we're the blueprint and all of this crap. No, if you respect us, if you love Latinos, we love everyone. We love everyone. But like, I'm pretty sure Black people done bad things to Ashley. That's why she said that. She just didn't say it out of nowhere. I work in that area, and it was horrible. They burned my uncle's business. They assaulted me when I came from Mexico. They were older people. No one defended me, and yeah, they're racist. They're super racist. They're making a lot of videos against Latinos, and we're supposed to stay quiet. But because if we say something, then we're the racist ones.
So it shouldn't be to anyone's surprise, but I support Ashley Gonzalez. Regardless of how you feel as a white American or a Black American, Latinos can say whatever we want. Black Americans and white Americans try to force us into their white versus Black mentality. They want us to subscribe to their social idealisms, and that includes their language. And quite frankly, I am refusing, as a Latino, I am refusing to bow down to their linguistic authority. Personally, I don't even care about Ashley Gonzalez herself. She is an individual. She can make her own decisions. If she wants to apologize, she can apologize. I, however, will never apologize. I am not going to apologize. I refuse to bow down to American bullshit when it comes to social standards, at least some of them. Like, if you're going to come at me and say or be upset because I said the N-word, I don't give a fuck. I truly don't give a fuck.
Right now, I'm speaking about the Ashley Gonzalez situation. For those who don't know, I'm the one with the Family Dollar, with a little girl was talking bad about Black folks in Spanish, and I had to check that shiggity. So about Ashley Gonzalez, the way she talked about Black folks, man, that's the norm. I'm gonna say this first: all Mexicans ain't like that, but a bunch of them are. See, I've heard them same conversations, how she spoke about Black folks in English. I've heard them same conversations all my life here in Texas in Spanish. I was raised in Texas. I was raised in Houston. So, and I'm gonna say it straight up, yeah, it's a bunch of racism. See, I told Isaiah Carey when he asked me that on the show, he said that I think it was a bunch of racism between against us who are in the Hispanic community. I told him, if I got to speak Spanish to be all right with a group of people, then I ain't gonna do it. I refuse to do it. Like I say, if my ears could speak, man, boy, they'll tell you some hell of a stories. It ain't, man, I'm like, as a kid, I remember being on a city bus and I would hear these people speak bad about black people and stuff, you know what I'm saying? In the penitentiary, I'm like, it's even worse, you know? We everything from Chango, Mayate, Mayuga to Tirachos to Chapapote is tar. You know, I've heard all of it. So the way she spoke in English about us, that's the way they speak about us in Spanish. Trust me, I know. And that's why I told Isaiah Carey, if I got to speak Spanish to be all right with a group of people, then I ain't gonna do it. Man, like I say, look, I heard that stuff so much that the wax in my ears have been melted. I don't even get wax in my ears no more because I've heard so much racism from them people towards us speaking in Spanish. So the way she spoke about us in English, man, that's the way they talk about us in Spanish. And that's why I checked that little girl that day, but I was just trying to let her know, you know, man, at this day of time, it's a bunch of us around here, man. So, like I say, I was raised in Houston before a bunch of Afro-Latinos even popped up, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Colombian. I was raised here. So I know the culture. And I ain't gonna sit up and say, no, it ain't racism, it ain't a bunch of racism. I'll be lying if I say that. And that's why my response was to Isaiah Carey, if I got to speak Spanish to be all right with a group of people, then I just refuse to do that. Hey, it is what it is. Sea lo que sea. You know, I'm gonna say this. I remember one time, this little girl cut for me, Mexican girl cut for me. She was telling her mama, I mean, Chico. And I remember going to the house and I remember her mama saying, ¿Quién es el negrito ese? She know who that little nigga right there, you know what I'm saying? She said, oh, este Chico. I said, ¿Tú eres Chico? I said, sí, yo soy Chico. ¿De dónde tú eres? Now, oh, you Chico. Now it became all right because I started speaking Spanish. Once again, if I got to speak Spanish to be all right, then I don't want to be all right.
Ashley Gonzalez is an exact representation of the Latino community. They're being taught that in their household. And I live in Miami amongst the Cubans, the Dominicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans, where we get this type of energy on a day-to-day basis. Like what have we done as a collective to make every race on the planet hate us? I want to know. Please, can y'all get in the comments? I'm talking about white, Hispanics, Chinese, Indian, whatever race you are. Please get in the comments and tell us what have black people done that makes y'all hate us so much. I really would like to know. I would genuinely love to know. Even though I'm a black that minds my business, like majority of black people do, we mind our business. But for this particular reason, I'm not minding my business. I want to know. I really want to know.
Unfortunately, Ashley Gonzalez does represent the Hispanic community. I'm getting kind of tired of seeing Hispanic people, Latino people getting into comment sections talking about, no, she doesn't represent us. We love all people. No, if you go to Texas, if you go to California, there are a lot of Hispanic people that love saying that N-word, hard ER. In growing up in the Hispanic community amongst Latinos in Texas, I noticed that a lot of them love to turn a blind eye to a lot of things. When it's convenient, they might sit there and be like, oh, we don't stand for that. That isn't a representative of our community, blah, 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 blah. No, Ashley Gonzalez was a woman who was emboldened by her community. She went this long unchecked. A lot of Mexicans, a lot of Latinos don't know the difference between racism and prejudice. Sure, there are many people of color in many communities all over the world who are prejudiced. The systemic racism enacted towards all of us, especially Black Americans in America, in the United States, is something to be said and talked about, especially when many non-Black communities of color love to utilize that proximity to whiteness to inflict oppression upon Black people. Ashley Gonzalez literally got into the police force, and I think from what I saw in that video, she was describing how she was utilizing her position of power to inflict harm on a Black person, right? Unfortunately, when you grow up to be an adult, you represent a lot of things. You represent your parents, you represent your family name, you represent your community, you represent the job you're tied to. You're a representative of something. If those entities, institutions, family units let you go that long with that behavior to where it then got publicized, that is a representative of all those entities, those communities, those institutions. It is a failing on all of those things. I'm so sick of so many non-Black communities of color, even, I'm sure, even in the Black community. There's a lot of colorism. There's a lot of behaviors that everybody just sees many vile things that are said behind closed doors and nobody checks it. The influential people don't check it. The leaders of the communities don't check it. They'll sit there and go, well, nobody that those horrid statements are made about are here, so we're just not gonna say anything. Like, I don't need to say anything. It's okay. They're not gonna say that in real life. Like, in public, they're not. So I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to check it. But then things happen like this. Ashley Gonzalez is a representative of her community because it's her community, our community, that lets these people go unchecked for far too long with their racism. Ashley Gonzalez, a lot of the times, these Hispanic people genuinely believe that acting like this gives them proximity to whiteness. You are never going to be accepted as a white person. You are never going to be welcomed into the white community, into institutions of power. Entities that have power, like the police force, like the military, like certain groups of white people, they literally welcome you in just to use your dumb ass. But too many of y'all genuinely believe that it makes you different than other people within your own community, different than Black people. It doesn't. We are all one. And just because some of you decide to dip your toes, tap into, hell, some of y'all dive deep into oppressive tactics in order to try to differentiate yourself, it doesn't. It's all in vain. It only makes you look stupid, and then you enact harm on others while doing it and trying all that shit out. Ashley Gonzalez is a representative of the Hispanic community. She's representative of a community that let her go unchecked up until now.
She was in the Marines. She said in her video that she felt like she was back in the Marines when she was going off on that Black man, calling him all kinds of slurs. And it's crazy because she posted that on her close friend story, okay? That means that the people she had in her close friend stories, she felt comfortable enough to say all of those things. And more than likely, those close friends were probably people that also served in the Marines. Like, why are we not talking about that? Like, that's just crazy. And the things that she said were so disgusting. Oh, somebody catches her on the streets and beats her ass.
Calling out the racism and colorism issues in the Hispanic and Latino communities and acknowledging and educating yourself on Black history and their oppression and how it goes hand in hand with the oppression of every other minority, and apologizing for the racism that has happened on behalf of the Hispanic and Latino community towards Black people is not kissing ass to another race. It's doing the bare fucking minimum. Yeah, I'm continue to be mad at my comments, but it's true. Look at the way y'all treat morenas. Darker skinned Hispanic and Latinos, you treat them terribly. Look at the way you treat Afro-Latinos. Look at the way you treat indigenous people in the Americas. Like, there's even a well-known saying in Latin America, especially in Mexico, that, oh, all the ugliest women come from Oaxaca. And it honestly goes to show just how uneducated people are. Because if you knew our history, you would not be racist or colorist. And if you were educated, you would know that Hispanic, Latino, Black, and indigenous communities have so much shared history. All of the things that are praised and loved about Latin American culture comes from our indigenous ancestry. And I hate to break it to some people, but apparently some people need a history lesson. Our ancestors were enslaved. A genocide happened against them. Our men were systemically killed and our women were raped to create mestizos. The reason there are so many issues and discord and prejudice amongst minorities and black people together is because of racist white propaganda that is preached to us to keep us from uniting. And when you fall for the racist white propaganda that is causing discord in our communities, you are a colonizer and you contribute to the hate and violence and lack of safety for black people and minorities across the entire world.
You want to know so funny? The vast majority of the racist comments underneath my Chanel video was from Hispanics. These people, I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know if they thought they were better than us. You would never be above a black American in this country. I don't know who the fuck told you that you was better than a black American because your complexion. White people knows you're not white. Let's get that out of the way. And that is why you are the first to be deported. I love looking black. I love my copper tone. I love my real hair. I love being brown skin. I love being a black woman. Okay? For you guys to come over here on our 14th Amendment, I think all of your citizenship needs to be revoked at this point. I think everyone who came here on our amendment, you guys need to go back to where you came from.
A historically grounded argument shows that tensions between segments of Mexican American political leadership and Black Americans did not begin recently, but have roots in older struggles over race, status, labor, and power. During the Jim Crow and civil rights eras, certain leaders sought advancement by distancing themselves from Black Americans and from Blackness itself. Critics have argued that this did not challenge the racial hierarchy of America so much as seek a different place within it. That criticism has been directed at parts of the history of League of United Latin American Citizens, particularly where legal and political strategies emphasize separation from Black identity. That history connects to a broader pattern scholars have identified across parts of Latin America and the United States: anti-Blackness and the minimizing of foundational Black Americans' contributions to history. The struggle over Afro-Mexican recognition, for example, has often been cited as evidence that Black identity was marginalized or erased from official narratives. Critics say when Black presence is erased from history, it becomes easier to erase Black claims in the present. That concern is part of why some foundational Black American advocates argue there are attempts to blur or weaken the specific historical case for reparations owed to descendants of U.S. slavery. From that perspective, the conflict over reparations is not just about money. It is about historical recognition. It is about whether the unique injuries of slavery, Jim Crow laws, redlining, and exclusion will be acknowledged as a debt owed specifically to foundational Black American freedmen descendants. Some activists argue that when those claims are folded into broader people of color politics, the original debt can be diluted. That has been part of debates in places like California, where lineage-based reparations proposals generated disagreements over eligibility. There have also been long-running tensions over labor and political representation. In some urban areas, Black and Latino communities have experienced conflict over jobs, public resources, and electoral influence. Scholars describe these as structural tensions tied to scarcity and political competition. Some critics interpret those conflicts as evidence that certain Hispanic politicians seek gains at Black Americans' expense. Whether one agrees with that or not, the tensions themselves are documented. A sharper historical critique is that some Hispanic institutions, political factions, have at times aligned with systems that minimize Black claims, challenged Black advancement, or competed against Black-specific remedies. That is a serious argument rooted in history, and that leads to the question many reparations advocates raise today. If there is growing resistance to lineage-based reparations, is that resistance simply about economics, or is it also about preserving old power arrangements that have long denied full repair to Black Americans? Tell me what you think about this topic. Hope you find the information in this video informative. Feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. Thanks for watching.